And as I said, I love talking about frankincense because it really is the epitome to me about why essential oils are so powerful, why doTERRA is so different compared to other companies doing this stuff, and just everything you can do with it. So of course, I've made a little ebook that I will link to also after this, so you have that on hand. But yeah, frankincense. So frankincense, it's different than other essential oils in the sense that it comes from a resin. So again, if you're new to essential oils or you're refreshing your memory, essential oils can come from any plant matter. So fruit, peels, leaves, flowers, bark, grass, what else? Anything really. But the resin is a little bit unique because it kind of looks like sap. It grows on the side of a tree and it dries like crystalline structure. So frankincense grows as a resin and copaiba grows as a resin. So what happens is someone has to climb the tree and literally scrape the resin off the tree. So it's very mindful work. It's very laborious work. And frankincense happens to come from Somalia and the Middle East, also Oman. But the best frankincense right now comes from Somalia. So you can just imagine, if you know Somalia, if you know Africa, these trees are growing in the barren desert. Like the sun is beating down. There's nothing in these fields except for these beautiful trees. But someone has to get out there and like scrape it off. So very laborious in a part of the world that is very not stable, shall we say, right? Like if you follow the news at all, you know it's civil war and poverty and famine. Like it's not a part of the world that has had a lot of luck in the past couple of decades. So that brings a conundrum to essential oils, and a challenge that I get challenged on a lot, especially by my colleagues in the naturopathic community who have trained more in botanical medicine and might not quite understand the essential oil industry. But what doTERRA has done that is so different than other companies, is that they have gone into Somalia, and instead of just going to these trees and taking it for themselves and destroying the environment and not giving back to the people, they've gone in and they've set up a whole industry in Somalia led by the Somalian people. So it's helping Somalian people take back their lives. It's helping them earn fair wages. So I often get challenged, like, why the heck is this so expensive? And that's why, right? You can't, if you see frankincense in the store and it's selling for $30, $40, $50, you know that it's not pure, A. It's laced with some kind of synthetic fragrance to make it smell like frankincense. B, it's from the black market, so it hasn't been ethically sourced. Those are the main reasons. So the reason that doTERRA frankincense is so expensive relatively speaking, is because A, it's incredibly, incredibly pure. It's the best frankincense on earth. And we are funding these people's lives, essentially. So women who might not otherwise have any opportunity to go to work or have money to send their children to school to change the society and the structure of Somalia, doTERRA is making that happen. And one thing they've done with money that's come from this is that they've put it right back into the community. They've just built a hospital in Somaliland that is going to serve 400,000 people, and that was never there before. So it gives me goosebumps. It's absolutely beautiful work. I just love sharing resources, so I'm going to share a video that came out recently about what this looks like there, and you'll get a first-hand look at what's happening on the ground. And another reason that makes this a little bit more expensive, I hate to even call it expensive because it really is relative. Like, this oil is life-changing for the Somali people and for yourself when you start using it, when I get into everything that you can use it for. So another thing, again, coming back to sustainability, we know that, we can't keep going in and just harvesting it without letting the trees rest. So doTERRA is very consciously working with some of the top environmental scientists and botanical experts in the world to monitor the trees and know when they need a year or two to rest. And it could be possible that we don't sell frankincense for a little bit just because we're conscious of that and the need for that. So totally different than other companies, very environmentally consciously sustainably sourced and ethically sourced in terms of helping people. So it's just a beautiful sentiment this time of year when we're thinking about, it's not about just getting gifts, it's about thinking about humanity and how we want to help each other and be together. And I think, like, if you follow the energy forecasts at all, you know that we're shifting into a different consciousness as humans. And I'm all about conscious consumerism and how we can all make a difference in how we purchase. And that's I hope you can hear it in my voice, just how passionately I feel about what doTERRA is doing in the world. And frankincense is a perfect example. So let's get to the masterclass on frankincense and all the stuff you can do with it. So as I said, frankincense grows as a resin on a tree. And again, I'm going to slow down my speaking because I tend to get overexcited. And I know we have quite a few people here from different countries, and I apologize if I'm just talking too fast. But frankincense grows as a tree resin. And you'll hear, it's a perfect example about what makes essential oils so unique. So another thing I get from naturopathic doctors and medical professionals who might work a lot with other plants, plant medicine, but not oils, is that, well, why would I give frankincense oil when I can just give, this as a tea or a tincture or something? But the constituents that make up essential oils are often totally different than what makes up other plant medicines, and they work in a totally different way. So you'll often see, if you read the research, you might hear stuff about frankincense being a really effective treatment for cancer. And that's true, but that's the boswellic acid. There's a constituent in here called boswellic acid. That's what is having the tumor fighting properties. And that constituent is actually too big to be in an oil. By the time you distill it, it just doesn't make it into this bottle. So there's lots of other stuff in here that helps health in different ways, but what you're gonna get in your body from taking like an extract from a resin versus the essential oil is totally different. Another difference between other botanical medicines like tea and tincture and essential oil is that essential oils are lipophilic, which means that they absorb really readily into the skin and just get to work really quickly. It's just a whole different mechanism of action compared to tea and tincture. So frankincense is just a great example of that. And then in terms of what we can do with frankincense, so they call it the king of oils, partly because of, just its biblical history. It was one of the oils brought to the baby Jesus, if you follow the Christmas story. So they brought, I think it was gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So myrrh is another really amazing essential oil that we can talk about on a different day, but won't even go there right now. But it's called the king of oils because of that biblical history, but also just because I always say, like, if you could have one oil in the house, if you could afford one oil, what would give you the most bang for your buck? It would be frankincense, just because of all the stuff you can do with it. So what can we do with it? Again, it's just a really unique oil because of the thousands and thousands of unique chemical constituents in here. So you'll often see people share frankincense as something that really benefits cellular health. And what does that mean? What does that mean? So cells are actually really smart. Your body is made up of millions and billions of cells. I actually should probably know that number, but I don't right now. So I'm just going to say millions of billions. And they know exactly what to do. And when I sit back and think about that, I think about, sometimes I just get caught up in my head with stupid stuff. And I'm just like, well, I'm so caught up in that stupid stuff, my body is working for me. All these millions and billions of cells are talking to each other and communicating with each other at a very primitive yet intelligent level. And if something is going wrong in a cell, it knows to kill itself. It commits suicide. It's called apoptosis, and it's totally normal and natural. And that's what stops your body from creating things like cancer. So we actually do want our body we want our cells to kill themselves sometimes because it's protecting us. And what can happen is that if we have a lot of inflammation and free radicals happening, and we can kind of get into this cycle where our body loses that mechanism to have the apoptosis. So what frankincense is doing is kind of balancing that out again. It's helping the cells talk to each other again. So you're not getting free radical damage. It's a super potent antioxidant, if that's more of a familiar word for you. So it's just on every level of your cell, protecting your cells, helping them be as healthy as they can be. And if they're not, helping them, leave and replenish themselves. So that's just at a very basic level. And that's why some people take frankincense every day. So I know people, especially during winter, when your immune system is a little bit down and just risks are a little bit higher, taking a drop of frankincense in a veggie capsule and swallowing it is just really a preventative, maintenance way to protect your immune system. And if you are in doTERRA and you take any of our supplements, especially the LLV, so the Lifelong Vitality, frankincense is in there. And it's just a beautiful complex, again, it's just for general health. So that is a big one, and why it's often touted as one that can help protect us against cancer. It's also really great for, on a physical level for skin. So very anti-aging, very good at fighting wrinkles, blemishes, imperfections, stretch marks, burns, anything on the skin that you don't want to be there. So we have a blend called Immortal, which is a whole bunch of different essential oils put together, but frankincense is the major one in there, and a lot of ladies love that one for treating their skin. There's also a whole skincare line called Virage that is frankincense based because frankincense is so nutritive to the skin. I personally just love putting a drop in my moisturizer once or twice a week and just treating myself that way. What else? If I have any kind of burn or irritation, again, in some coconut oil right on the skin. It's super gentle. I've never heard of anyone reacting to frankincense topically, although of course it could happen, but it's just a very gentle oil for skin. Just going through my list here. So yeah, physical level, I think of skin, I think of cellular health, I think of, supporting anti-cancer processes. It's really also quite lovely for respiration in the winter. So if you have any kind of cough or congestion or like sore throat or irritation, again, because of that immune boosting property, frankincense is amazing. So I often recommend my mom friends, they're always saying like, what oils do I need in my monthly order? Before winter starts, I recommend them getting the frankincense roll-on bottle that doTERRA makes, or you could make your own, because it's really health promoting for your children. If you roll frankincense on their feet before bed every night, it's just going to really gently support the immune system all winter long. So I love that. And then emotional balance. So again, if you've heard me speak about essential oils in the past, you know why I love them so much out of any other modality that I've ever worked with and prescribed to people, is because it really does work on a physical, mental, and emotional, spiritual level. So on a mental, emotional level, the constituents of frankincense can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. And that's really quite unique and quite powerful and kind of mind-blowing, because the brain is designed to have this thing called the blood-brain barrier around it, and it's to protect the brain, right? It's such an important part of our body. We don't want random crap getting in there. And if stuff does get in there, you either want it to be super therapeutic or nothing, right? Why people die of meningitis and stuff is because bacteria and viruses get through that barrier and make the brain inflamed. So a reason why psychiatric medication can be so toxic is because it's actually quite difficult for drugs to cross the blood-brain barrier, and sometimes we have to like up and up and up the dose just to get it across, and you start getting the side effects of those medications. So what's beautiful about frankincense is that there's things in here that can cross that blood-brain barrier, but in a very beneficial way. So you'll find that if you suffer from anxiety, if you suffer from depression, if you suffer from, insomnia or nightmares or just like racing mind, this will be really calming and supportive for emotions. And of course, with any kind of mental health issue, there are times when you want to seek that professional psychiatric help. Like, I'm not anti-pharmaceutical at all, but I think in many cases, it's just amazing how with some natural support and tapping into how we want to feel and natural solutions, just how much better you can feel, and how you can like either dramatically reduce the dose of those more toxic things or avoid the need for them altogether. So again, really beautiful for that. I know a girlfriend of mine, the naturopathic medical board exams are pretty much the worst thing ever on earth, like the most stressful 3 months that you'll ever have. And one of my friends almost couldn't write them because she was so anxious, like GI issues, not sleeping, almost had to leave the exam. And she happened to have a little bottle of frankincense with her and smelled it, felt herself calm down enough that she could write the exam and finish it, and she passed, and it was amazing. So that's kind of the case that always pops to mind when I think about how quickly this works in just like tonifying the nervous system. And then in meditation, prayer, and focus. So we've covered the physical, we've covered the emotional, mental, which is a super important part of health that I think a lot of us don't tap into. And then, I know a lot of us aren't necessarily super spiritual or into that world, but I'm not afraid anymore to admit that I am, and it's okay if you're not. But this is a beautiful oil if you are seeking more, if you're stretching yourself, if you have these big questions, if you just have this niggling feeling that you really want to learn to meditate, or you really want to learn to be more mindful, and you don't know why, and you struggle with that. So I think energetically it has to come from just the mindful practice of how this oil is harvested. So again, someone climbing a tree and scraping off the oil, and just the work and the intention that takes, and just the energy of the plant. And when it comes down to it, with any kind of plant medicine, we're putting something living in our body, and there's no denying that that energy is transferring to us, right? It's offering us what it was offering the tree, what it was offering the flower. So, and again, maybe it has to do with the biblical connection of frankincense, but it is often used in churches, it's used in yoga practice, it's used in just general calming, and can really help you tap into that. So diffusing this, or, rubbing it, I just hold it in my hands and smell it, but diffusing it, rubbing it again on the bottom of your feet, can be really beautiful. And again, it's another awesome one that you can make a whole bunch of really cool diffusing blends with. So depending on how you want to feel. So that's why I love diffusing. I diffuse to clean the air in my house and fight germs and all that stuff. But you can also really curate the feeling that you want to have in your home. So if you are feeling anxious and you are feeling like you want to just tap into that realm, you could diffuse frankincense, and you could diffuse it with something like lemon, which is really uplifting, or sandalwood, which is another woody one. There's lots of different options for diffusing, and it tends to blend well with everything. So that's kind of some ways that you can use frankincense internally. You can use it topically. You can use it in your diffuser aromatically. We've seen how it supports physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. And then again, it's just like, oops, my battery's dying. It's just the ultimate case study of how essential oils can serve you. And it's just one example. So again, this oil is free if you already use doTERRA and you order with a minimum 200 order this month. It doesn't have to be an LRP. It can be any which way. And if you're brand new to doTERRA this month and you start with some kind of small starter kit, or you get me or one of my leaders to help you put together the oils that you think would really work for you, you're going to get this for free as well. And it's just amazing that doTERRA gives this for us this month, because it's worth over $100 or 80 euros if you're in Europe. So that's amazing. And again, I'm sorry I can't see the comments because I'm on my iPad. I should use my phone next time. But I will go back and answer any questions. Again, I'm sorry that the animal talk didn't happen today, but that is 100% coming this week with my sister, who's a veterinarian. I'm going to post the link right after this to the giveaway and prize page, so you can see how you can qualify for some amazing prizes this week, and share my ebook later tonight on probably 20 to 50 different ways you could use frankincense for your family. So that's all for today. I hope you're having a beautiful Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much to all the people who are still joining the group. I think people are going to be joining all week. You can qualify for these giveaway prizes at any time, so don't feel like you've missed out on anything. Just go back and catch up on your own time if you want to learn, and we'll be in touch. Bye for now.